Hi guys, it's good to see you. Hey, over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be learning about a guy named Solomon. Now, one of the things that Solomon is most known for was his wisdom. And we're going to be talking a lot about wisdom. We're going to talk about what wisdom is not, and how God can use wisdom in our life. But first, before we get into any of that, I have a story that I want you to watch, and it goes like this. Take a look.
King David was growing old, and he stayed in his own room, lying in bed wrapped in blankets because he felt so cold. Meanwhile, people were talking and planning about who was going to be the next king. Adonijah was the king's oldest living son, and lots of people heard he would be the next king. So Adonijah made up his mind and crowned himself king. "We'll have a dinner party," he announced to his followers, "and invite everyone to come. Afterward, you will declare me king." He did not invite Solomon or his friends. Solomon's friend Nathan heard about the plan and hurried to see Solomon's mother Bathsheba. "Go straight to King David," he advised her. "Tell him what is happening and remind David of his promise to you that Solomon should become king after him." When Bathsheba was ushered into the king's presence, she bowed low. As she finished telling him about Adonijah's plan, Nathan arrived with the same story. David promised Bathsheba that he would keep his promise and make Solomon king. "Put Solomon on my own royal mule," he ordered Nathan, "and lead him through the city. Let Zadok the priest anoint him king. Then blow the trumpet and bring Solomon back in victory." Nathan was quick to obey the king's orders. Adonijah and his friends were still at the dinner party when they heard the trumpet blast and the cheers of the crowds as the new king rode through the city. They knew their plan had failed. Solomon was king at David's own command. Before David died, he gave Solomon a lot of good advice. He reminded him that above all, he must obey God's laws. Once David was dead, Solomon had all the work and worry of ruling the people of Israel by himself. One night, King Solomon had a dream. God appeared to him and said, "What would you like me to give you, Solomon?" Solomon knew at once what he wanted most. "Please, God," he prayed, "give me wisdom. I am young and have no experience. I don't know how to rule over all the people of Israel unless you help me. Make me wise so I can rule over my people justly. Help me to understand the difference between good and evil." God was pleased with Solomon's answer. "You could have asked to be rich or to live long or to have your enemies put to death," God told him. "Instead, you have asked for wisdom. I will give you wisdom to rule and judge fairly. You will be the wisest man who ever lived. I am also going to give you the things you did not ask me for. You will be rich and respected by everyone. And if you obey me and keep my laws, you will have a long life." Solomon woke up and knew he'd been dreaming, but he also knew that God had really been talking to him. He felt comforted that God was going to give him the help he needed to be a good king.
What is wisdom? Well, wisdom is more than just a lot of facts. And now, it's true, I'm pretty smart. I mean, while you guys were watching that story, I read this entire book. No, not really. I didn't really do that. And you know what? Wisdom is not about knowing facts and knowledge and dates and places. Wisdom is much larger than that. Wisdom is actually learnings that you've gained from other people. It's learnings from your life experiences. And then it's taking those learnings and actually putting them into action. It's actually using what you learn. You see, wisdom comes from a lot of different places. Wisdom comes from people around us, from mom and dad, from our teachers, from family members. It comes from things that we read. It comes from things that we're taught at church. It comes mainly from the Scripture. But you see, wisdom doesn't mean much if we know these things, but we don't actually do them. So a wise person is one who knows these things, they've learned them, and they actually implement them, they actually do them in their life. Now, King David made a lot of mistakes. And he didn't want his son Solomon making the same mistakes. So David tried to tell Solomon, tried to share his learning, his wisdom with his son Solomon, so Solomon wouldn't make the same mistakes. Solomon loved God with all of his heart. And in fact, Solomon loved God so much that when God said, I'll give you anything that you want, Solomon didn't ask for all the money in the world. He didn't ask for popularity. He asked for wisdom because he knew he would need God's wisdom in order to make good decisions. You and I, we need wisdom too. And we can gain that wisdom, like I said, in a lot of different ways, but we have to learn it and then do it. And wisdom comes from all these different places, but the key is that once we learn these things, we actually do them. And as we do, we grow in wisdom. And it's just like riding a bike. The more you ride, the better you get. And the more you use wisdom in making good decisions, the better you get at it. And that's what we see in Solomon's life, and that's what you and I can do, and how God can use us to make good judgments and good choices by using wisdom. All right? We love you guys. We'll see you next time.